My name is Wyatt Key, and this is my post-lab literature review. So my topic, I decided to go with recycling wind turbine blades with some sort of chemical solutions. Now, I chose this topic because I drive through Eastern Washington almost every summer, and I do go south to Portland about every Christmas to see family down there. And there's a lot of wind turbine blade farms out east and some down south, a little outside the Portland area, Vancouver area down there. And it always got me thinking about how to recycle wind turbine blades because I knew from previous knowledge that they have a life expectancy of 20 to 30 years and then they have to be disposed of. And from the research I've done right now, it's they just bury them. And there's been some efforts, and one I've found is using chemical solutions and chemical processes to extract certain materials and compounds out of the wind turbine blades so that they can be recycled properly or in some cases reused. So for my primary article, use I'm using an article called Process Optimization and Economic Estimation of Nitric Acid Dissolution for Recycling Wind Turbine Waste Wind Blades. And what they do here is they make a 9 meter um, model wind turbine blade, and they uh, and that consists of what it would normally be in a wind turbine blade. So they have a filler core, which is usually made out of polyethylene, and they have the outer blade, which is usually made in fiberglass and then coated with an epoxy. Um, that's like the simplest version, and that's what they chose to do for their model. Then they dissolutionized it in nitric acid, and they heated it up, and their end results um, their end results concluded that it was somewhat effective, but would need more research, i.e., like a bigger blade or a bigger model blade, I should say, more concentrated, and they just need to do more research in general. Alright, so for my secondary source, I went with NRLE, Advances Method for Recyclable Wind Turbine Blades. Now, for this one, they also decided to make a model, and they tested it in a couple different chemicals. And again, their end result was they don't list the chemicals. And again, the end result was that they should do more work. They would need to advance more in the factor of testing the chemicals more and a bunch of other stuff. Like, again, making the model bigger, testing the other chemicals, testing different times and days, and whatnot. And again, they're all trying to figure out if there's a way they could possibly, if these chemicals could be formidable in the future in that they can effectively clean up the terrible process that is right now where they just bury them, which is really bad for the environment. So they're trying to find some way they can do that with chemicals. Alright, and then my secondary article is Making Green Energy Greener, Researchers' Purpose Method for Wind Turbine Blades Recycling. Now, they use a form of chemical dissolution called pyrolysis, where they put it into a chemical compound, or they put the old blade into a chemical solution, and they dissolve it, and they heat it up. So they heat up the chemical to break down the fibers in it faster, so they wouldn't have to wait as long. And again, their end results are kind of the same. They even say here they need a real wind turbine blade to continue research. So almost all of them, from what I've read through, is that they come back successful somewhat in that if they continued their research and uh, funneled down the effects and the benefits of it, they could get almost a completely green, uh, clean way to deposit or recycle of these wind turbine blades using some sort of chemical solution. There's lots and lots of articles that list dozens of different ways. Some use pyrolysis, some use pyrolysis. They almost all use different chemicals, and since there's like in the simplest version, there's like 3 components to a wind turbine blade, but in the most complex, there can be upwards of 9 or more. So there's a lot of different articles that go through and look at the specific things that they can try to recycle within a wind turbine blade. Mostly people are looking at is the fiberglass shell of the thing. So that's what most articles are focused towards. But there is other articles that focus towards, say, the core filler, which is polyethylene, or the epoxy shelling instead of the fiberglass, stuff like that. But they're all in the end trying to find some way to use chemicals to recycle aspects of the wind turbine blade.